unlearning, or believe about assessment. Hello and welcome. I am Anton Mason, Special Education Instructor. And this is Unlearning Old Beliefs about Assessment. Today, we will redefine what assessment for learning really means, explore concrete tools you can use right away, and unpack the beliefs both educators and students need to let go of, drawing on the work of Beverly Daniel Tatum and Robin DiAngelo. Let's dive in. Agenda. Here's our roadmap for the next 5 to 7 minutes. First, we will define assessment for learning. Next, we will explore how to design assessment practices and tools. Then, we will discuss how to help students take ownership of their learning. After that, we will identify the beliefs educators must unlearn. Next, we will identify the beliefs students must unlearn. Then, we will integrate key insights from Tatum and DiAngelo. Finally, we will wrap up with practical next steps. Assessment for learning is formative rather than summative. Instead of waiting until the end of a unit, we embed ongoing checks and feedback loops throughout instruction. Students become co-assessors, actively reflecting on their progress. Beverly Daniel Tatum, 1997, reminds us that unless our tasks affirm every learner's racial and cultural identity, we risk triggering stereotype threat instead of building trust. Designing assessment practices to build assessments that truly scaffold growth. Start by co-creating rubrics with students so they own the success criteria. Embed quick formative checks in every lesson, such as exit tickets, polls, or 2-minute writes, to gauge understanding in real time. Use structured peer assessment and self-assessment protocols to develop feedback skills. Leverage learning journals and portfolios to capture and reflect on progress over time, and provide culturally responsive options such as oral storytelling, digital media, or visual art, so every student can demonstrate mastery in a way that honors their background. Student ownership of learning. Help students set their own goals and track their progress. Hold goal-setting conferences in which students choose a target, plan steps, and update a progress chart. Build in revision cycles to normalize improvement. Use reflective prompts such as, what perspective did I center in my last project? And what is one improvement I can make today? Finally, let students lead portfolio reviews, presenting their evidence and reflecting on their own learning journeys. Beliefs educators must unlearn. We must let go of the idea that we are neutral assessors in reality. Neutrality masks bias, so we need to interrogate our cultural assumptions. We must unlearn the belief that grades motivate all students. Research shows grades often demotivate, so we should prioritize growth-oriented feedback instead. We must stop viewing assessment as something that happens only at the end. Formative checks belong throughout every lesson. We have to set aside the notion that we cannot pause to give feedback. Feedback is not optional. It is the engine of learning, and we must abandon the cover the content at all costs mindset. Equity demands we surface and address learning gaps before moving on. Belief students must unlearn. Students need to unlearn the belief that they only learn when they receive a grade. Learning is ongoing and happens in every challenge and revision. They must let go of the idea that mistakes mean they are bad at something. Errors are data for improvement. They need to realize that their teacher is not the only one who knows if they are successful. They can learn to self-assess and peer assist. They must understand that feedback is not criticism, but personalized coaching toward their goals. And they need to embrace the truth that learning is never finished. It is a continuous cycle of reflection and revision. Integrating Tatum and DiAngelo. Throughout your practice, weave in these equity insights from Beverly Daniel Tatum, 1997 and 2003. Create identity,
safe classrooms, and culturally responsive assessment options from Robin DiAngelo. 2018. Notice when defensiveness or privilege creeps in, and lean into that discomfort as a learning opportunity. Display an identity safety checklist, alongside a chart of common triggers of defensiveness as constant reminders of these principles. Next steps in conclusion. To start transforming your classroom as soon as tomorrow, add one quick formative check to your next lesson. Co-create a rubric with students this week. Embed a reflection prompt about voice and power. Audit one existing assessment for equity and identity safety. And if you found this session helpful, please subscribe for weekly tips on formative and equitable assessment. Thank you for watching Unlearning Old Beliefs about Assessment.